Actually, I think that it would be better if they can raise the age. Because I still feel like, I mean, like, we have all been through the age of 17, right? All of us here. So it's like, I feel that for many of them, they still lack the maturity to really be able to handle. But, I mean, for me, it's like, I don't actually have a problem with 17. But it's just that if possible...
Why you don't have a problem with 17 personally?
Personally, I don't feel like 17 is really that young that you cannot handle at all. But at the same time, there are still a lot of 17-year-old kids or teenagers who still lack that maturity.
So generally,
it's okay. But if possible, I think it would be a good thing to raise.
In my case, right, when I was 17, it was appropriate, but now probably not. Because nowadays, actually, if you notice, your juniors somehow seem smaller and less mature. If you notice, so it's quite scary lah. Actually,
like how maturity affects their driving.
Because if let's say they decide they want to play on the road with their friends and they want to race, then that's actually an issue lah.
Now it's 17 years old.
For cars, right?
Yeah, for cars.
So do you think 17 years old is appropriate, like to be the minimum age to get a driving license? Is it appropriate?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate.
Why?
Because you know, in the US and everything, 16 years old is already appropriate.
17 now.
Yeah. It is still 17.
Yeah, because my time is 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think is it appropriate to for a 17 years old guy to get a driving license?
Okay, basically it's no, but of course it's all depend on individuals. I mean, kind of attitude, you see.
Yes,
Why?
because I think 17 is they are mature enough to do so.
I think 17 is very appropriate.
Why do you think 17 is very appropriate? Because most of them think at 17 are not mature enough.
Well, I think children are getting more and more matured as time goes by, you know. With the new technology age, I think students have a lot of exposure. I think they're getting more and more mature. So I think 17 will be fine.
I think would it be a bit too over to say 21, but yeah, I guess 21 then.
21, why?
I think it sort of like it feels more adultish, like you actually have enough experience to be able to handle situations. And you know, for a lot of teenagers, right, when they are still very like emotionally driven, so they kind of like are not able to, so it's like when you have the freedom to drive, you tend to do a lot of like crazy stuff, and you're not able to, you know, really say, okay, at what times I should behave, like how. Whereas I think if you're 21, you are basically, you're at the adulthood stage, so I think that would be a good age lah. But on the other hand, thinking of like practical issues, it's like ever since, from the gap between 17 and 21 is kind of big, right? So it's like during that time, if you're not able to drive and you still have to depend on like your parents or whatever, it's also kind of hard lah. So I can understand why they put it at 17, but at the same
Somehow I think 21 is too late. So I think around 19, you know, let's get a bit of like college, a bit of, because you know when you go college you're slightly more independent than when you're in school. So I guess then you'll be more responsible in a sense.
Follow the law like 18, because 18 is a major already, so we follow 18 at least.
So you think that 18 years old might be more mature and less
Slightly
influential to mass media?
I would say 18 they are still very easy to get influenced. It's just like, because since the law in Malaysia saying that 18 is a major already, then follow 18. Of course for me, if I say 21, that's a bit too much already, and then it's also so inconvenience. Because I have the license during Form 4, actually it's quite convenient actually, but just like because of the influence nowadays out there by the mass media, that is why it's good to, even though you can give it at 17, but of course before you get a license, the education part has to be done.
think it is a big problem, but it's not the main factor or main issue, because I think there are still a lot of other factors that contribute to it lah, like say drink and drive and all that kind of thing, which doesn't just happen to like teenagers. It can be like super old people and they can still act that way. So I think age is not like the main thing. But
if it's not age, then what other issue that you think it is?
it is just for me, I think the most important thing is just like that people nowadays they're just plain selfish and they don't care about like what other people think. It's like they're all very emotionally driven now. To what age you are at, sometimes you still tend to be so
Attitude and
selfish.
emotion problem.
Yeah. So it's like you're very selfish lah, and then not you. That person is just very selfish and they're just not able to, think of what other people do, and they just act very irrationally.
Without considering the consequences.
Yeah, it could be because young people tend to go out more shopping and all that, and especially nowadays, teenagers are more, our generation is more impatient and they want it fast, we want everything fast. So driving.
No, I don't think so. It's a big factor because accidents also can be caused by 40 years old, 50 years old, older adults and everything. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously, younger people tend to be more reckless, you can say like that. But in the end, they have to learn it by themselves. They have to learn from the adults. So adults have to set a good example, and also, So that's what I think.
The way of the person driving, or that actually determine whether they are whether the high risk group of accidents or not. It's not really like the age actually, but sometimes those teenagers at 17 years old, they might be influenced by a lot of this kind of external, reason, like for example, like mass media, for example, those car advertisements, those petrol advertisements where like putting the fuel, the car can go so fast kind of thing, instead as if they are not going to die kind of thing if they die so fast. Okay, so that is why 17 is a bit too young, because they are very easy to get influenced by those advertisements, especially those car advertisements where the advertisement like they make the people feel that as if the car it can go so fast and yet it is safe, but actually it's not.
Alright. So since like age is one of the factors that causes high rate of accident, do you think is it the main one? Or are there still other more?
Because of the age, that's why I think the main one normally is still those mass media, the advertisement, or that maybe the movies like Fast and Furious or that kind of thing. Even though at the end of the day the person drive fast is die, but of course they still make it like so heroic, like that people will follow what he do kind of things. That's why it's still the mass media influence for me. But personally, I drive slower after watching F1.
So this will lower down the standards to get a license. So this will increase the accident rate.
So you think that instead of age, corruption is the main issue that causes this high rates of accidents, that cause the youngsters that get a driving license to drive in Malaysia, that because they are not
They are
that
able to
skilled,
pay.
because they are not that skilled, that's why they cause all these accidents.
I think it's a main issue.
It's still the main
But
issue.
17 is fine. I think it's a main issue. If they're younger than 17, I don't think they're matured enough to go behind the wheel.
Okay, so it's
Yes, but I think children nowadays, by the age of 17, they're matured enough.
I think it's not about the age per se. I think it's all about the driving school, on how exactly they train students. Maybe be 16 or 17 or 18, but it's all in result to how a particular driving school actually teaches a student in terms of what they go through. Also in considering when you're 17, you should be able to make certain decisions and you should be aware of your surroundings, all of this. But being aware, being safe, knowing what's around you, it all boils down to the driving school per se, and also the instructor they place. So I don't think age is really much of an issue per se. It's more the teaching, the learning.
yeah, so you mean the process is more important.
Correct.
The government should do, I think enforce on the laws and educate like children since young lah. As in like sometimes if you ask like a teenager or even an adult to just come and you just tell them like what you should do, what you shouldn't do, it's very hard to get it's very hard to internalize it already. So I think you should start educating them from young and like seriously really tell them and show them the seriousness of not driving carefully.
The most common answer would be to be stricter with their, more roadblocks and checks and all that, and more, when they check the speed, they use the speed camera thing, and they have to be more strict lah, that's one.
Besides that, should they raise, the minimum age required to get a driving license?
That could work, because of course you'll be thinking older people are more responsible lah. Then again, have you seen the drivers in KL? Yeah.
Very poor traffic regulation from the legal point of view, legal forces and everything, the police, traffic police and everything. I think they have to be strict and not really just telling the government to reduce make the age limit higher or anything, but actually you have to enforce it there and then
The law.
Maybe they should like having more on the education part before they give the driving license to the person. So for example, like you need to attend classes or that it's not just simply like you pass the like my time is you pass the undang, then you slowly can get the license already. So you should be like more on the education part, like the road safety or that conceptual like investment loan.
They should stop corruption. Then they will stop accidents.
They should go for courses of safety before they are given the driving license. Okay, it's not just some kind of paperwork. Maybe they need to go for course where they see examples of victims who are involved in accidents, and what are the measures, what are the things that they need to do to prevent accidents. I think they need those courses before they are given the license, not just sitting for the undang and sitting for the on the road test.
I think first of all they should work more with their hands rather than their mouth lah. And what I mean by that is, if you imply a law and if there's punishment to be done, you do the punishment per se lah. You don't delay a punishment and send in a ticket after a year or 2 years, then only you punish the person. I feel that laws are implied, but no action has been taken per se. And other than that, what else can the government do is improving the system of what they teach to exact what it is now, and to be strict on the teaching procedure, because there's a lot hanky-panky going around when it comes to driving. I think a lot of us Malaysians can relate to that. So because of this hanky-panky, people actually get license freely and easily, if you consider that. I'm coming across, of course, not very politically friendly lah, but that is the nature of our driving industry per se, because anyone can get a license if you just pay a little bit more, and that's all you need to get a license.